Okay, here we are. BDP, how you doing, man? First thing I want to say is, if I sneeze or sniffle or cough a lot, it's just been one of those weeks. Still recovering, so apologies for any sounds that should only be heard in the bathroom. Uh, how you doing, man? You ready for Monday night? Right? Yeah,
Yeah,
tomorrow night.
Monday night. Let's see what they can do. They're
Yeah,
on
it's
the road.
no Jalen
I mean,
Carter.
I feel bad for these guys in LA. A 5 o'clock, 5:15 Monday night football game just doesn't even. It should be a Monday afternoon, Monday afternoon, Monday evening.
Yeah, it's and there's the thing with being such a big country, right? It's tough because the East Coast, and there are a lot of people in the Northeast, right? That they're like football games starting at 9 o'clock on a weeknight is ridiculous,
Yeah,
So it's definitely tough to balance. Um, but
yeah, we'll see. I mean, the Chargers have a they have a defense that's been flying pretty under the radar themselves. The Chargers defense, they're second in the league when it comes
yeah,
to yards allowed. So I mean, this isn't going to be a walk in the park, and we all know how much
no,
the offense struggles. So
yeah.
this is a
Speak.
this is a game that they I don't want to call it a must win, but they need to turn this ship around. They need a
Oh,
they need a win that's not against a group of tomato cans. What's going on, Chris
yeah.
Bruce? How you guys in church? Wish I could chat, but fire Kevin Patullo, indeed, Chris Bruce. Appreciate you at least stopping in at church. Go pay attention. Go pay attention to what your priest or pastor's got going on.
But no, but it's funny. It's like I agree with you. Sorry, I'm working on getting this thing up as we're talking. Is where is the it's not a must win in terms of, if they lose, they're not making the playoffs. But I do think, like you said, I do think in terms of how they've played lately and how the games have gone and how they have lost in that way, if we're trying to stay on track with, hey, we can still get a 1 or 2 seed and we still got a shot at the Super Bowl.
Mm,
Yeah, I think they have to win this game. I mean, because not only win this game, they have to win this game playing well.
yeah, yeah. Let's not
Okay, that means,
back into a W
yeah,
here.
yeah, I mean, we can't have Saquon Barkley getting 22 carries for 65 yards and Jalen Hurts throwing for a buck 55, and
And
the
the great
defense maybe coming up with a couple of turnovers and we win 15-12 or something like that.
Yeah, and the crazy part is, although we don't want to win that way, that is the most likely way to win. That's the most likely way that we're going to win, based on how bad the offense has been, and how solid the defense has been for most of the year.
Yeah.
Saquon rushing for 50, for 60, 70 yards. That's more likely than him rushing for 100 yards. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
100%. Yeah. But he
Uh,
still has
yeah,
what? One 100-yard game?
yeah. I mean, I would like Jalen Hurts to just meet us in the middle, maybe give us 215, 220 passing yards. But yeah, like winning with our offense not performing at a elite level, or even like a top 10 level, that's more likely than us winning with them, going blow for blow with the Chargers. So it's going to be
Yeah.
interesting. I'm also interested to see how this defense is going to respond. This defense has been getting run all over these last 2 weeks, whether it was the Cowboys putting up over 150, whether it was the Bears putting up over 250.
Right.
How is this defense going to respond? Weather's not going to be an excuse. We're going to be in the warm weather. I don't want to hear it. It hurts when I hit. We're not going. That's not going to be an excuse. You guys are going to be fresh, playing in
No, silly.
beautiful 70-degree weather over there in LA. Let's get after the quarterback. Justin Herbert's one of those guys. As soon as he starts seeing bodies, he's going to start throwing it to Cooper DeJean before we even know it. So let's make sure we're putting pressure on him, and let's make sure we're stopping the run game. Those are two big things. Put pressure on the quarterback and be solid up front.
Yeah, well, actually, that's one thing I was going to ask. It's funny. One of the things that completely slipped my mind that I forgot to pay attention to and monitor was is Justin playing?
Oh yeah. He
Right,
is
I can.
not on the injury report.
He's not.
He is well. He's under questionable, but he participated in practice all week.
Okay, so most likely he's going to
Yeah,
give it a go.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Um, because yeah, with that. And speaking of giving it a go, we won't have Jalen Carter's not playing. So
yep.
although I think, but Ajomo is back, I believe. So yeah, I mean, to your point, I think one of the biggest things. Now, look, we all know about the offensive issues, and I want to get into a question I have for you on that just in a second. But I want to just follow up what you said with the defenses. Yeah, they have looked, and I get it. I look, everything has to be in context in the NFL, with offenses and defenses, because so much of what can happen can be because of how the other side of the ball on your own team does, for sure. But yeah, I mean, the defense has gotten, and here's the thing, it's not just like they've gotten lit up for 450 passing yards. They've gotten lit up in the, for lack of better phrasing, the manly part of the game, right? The in the trenches, the physical stuff. We're just going to run the ball down your throat, and they got the ball run down their throats.
Yeah.
And that's a whole different thing than someone like Matthew Stafford throwing for 400 yards against you. You know what I mean? It's like, it's different what it does to you mentally.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, getting gashed for passing yards, sometimes you could just chalk it up to the quarterback, but when you're getting run all over, that's just a will versus will type of deal, because there's only 5 offensive linemen and there's 4, 3, usually a front 7 going up against that 5, and maybe a blocking tight end. So it really is a lot of what's our pursuit angles, how aggressive are we being at the point of contact, and what are we going to do to enforce our will to make sure that they don't want to continue to run the ball on us. But the Chargers, they're what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 top 10 in rushing yards in the league.
Right.
Do I have that right? No, excuse me, I didn't. They're in the middle of the pack in rushing yards. So 1465 rushing yards, but they're averaging 4.5 yards a carry. So when they do run the ball, they get a nice chunk. Again, I would like to think that our defense the last 2 weeks has been a blip, not a trend. Okay, the Cowboys ran it on us, all right. But dude, it's even worse. The Cowboys ran it on us because they were down. Like, the Cowboys were down running the ball on us. They weren't like up keeping a lead running the ball on us, kind of like the Bears were. The Cowboys were like, damn, we're going to run it to get ourselves back in the game, where the Bears said, we're going to run it to keep you guys out of the game.
Yeah.
How is tomorrow going to play out? Because if we shut down the run and we force Herbert to pass the ball 40 times, I like our chances in that game.
Oh, agreed. Well, and to that point, actually, it's funny on both the things that you just said, the run, defense, because obviously they play a role, especially when you're getting run over, the safeties. But then also in the pass game, I think one guy that we can all, and look, people have bad games, so that's also why it's going to be interesting to see how he bounces back, is Reed Blankenship. I mean, he looked like a guy that it was finally determined, hey, you know what? This man's not an NFL starting safety. I'm not saying he's not, but I'm saying that's how he looked last week.
They fined him, actually.
He did, yeah. They fined him for that one tackle, but he just didn't. Now, to be fair, no one really looked good, but and that's why it's kind of interesting. I'm like, well, are they really going to be hurt by Jalen Carter not playing?
I got some numbers for you since you brought up his name. Reed Blankenship, 39.9 pro football grade for safety, which is the third worst. 30.1 pro football focus coverage grade for a safety, which is second worst. 277 yards allowed, 3 touchdowns allowed, 115.6 passer rating allowed on him, 1 interception, 1 pass breakup. Not the best numbers you would like from your starting safety.
And so that's a now think about that, because with the injuries, right, and like Makuba and so forth, I mean, our safeties are Reed Blankenship and Sidney Brown.
Sidney Brown, another guy. Another guy. And this goes to
that. I mean, can I say something real quick? Hold that thought, because I just want to follow with Sidney, just as an example for those who are wondering. This is where we also have to realize that Chicago game could have been so much worse. People talk about one pass from Jalen Hurts. Caleb Williams was incredibly inaccurate, and in fact, on a play that Sidney Brown would have been shown the rest of Sidney Brown's career and then some on all the highlight reels. Luckily, Caleb Williams threw a terrible pass that bounced. That should have been a touchdown. Should have been an easy touchdown. I've never seen someone get so completely embarrassed in coverage the way Sidney Brown did in that play, the way he got completely turned around 20 yards from the guy he was covering. So that's our secondary, our safeties, I should say, not our
Yeah.
secondary.
When it goes to our secondary, that just is Howie Roseman. He's put a lot of stock and a lot of faith into Sidney Brown, so it is what it is.
And to Reed.
Maybe, but so Reed only got extended through this year, so he's done after this year. I would be surprised if they bring him back. If they do, we're going to need to get a very friendly discount.
Yeah.
But with Makuba's improvement, with him getting another year under his belt, another training camp under his belt, I don't see why we would bring him back. But Howie really needs to address the offensive line, and the back end of the secondary in this draft needs to be focus 1, focus 2, and see what we can do as far as running back goes. But I'm also not opposed to seeing what Tank has in store for us if we give him an actual good chunk of the carries.
Well, and see, but you mean you're thinking about for next year, right?
For next year. For next year.
Well, but see, here's the thing with that is that something we're going to actually see for next year, and would Tank want to even be on board with that? When the fact that we brought him over this year, he sits and sits and sits, finally gets some carries, is absolutely dominant, and then that's it. Like, if he is in the cards for next year, and I would like to see it as well, but I would think we would see more this year. I mean, it makes no sense to be giving him the ball as few times as we are, unless they're worried about Saquon Barkley's ego. I mean, which I'm not putting that on Saquon. I'm saying if that's something they're worried about, because it makes no sense to see the production that we've gotten from the run game and to not give Tank Bigsby more carries. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, especially the production that Tank Bigsby's given us. I mean, it's not like he's not contributing when he's there. Island Ultra, not shocking. Blankenship has never looked good in coverage, but he's still above Brown and Makuba. No, I agree. He's definitely above Brown and Makuba. But you give Makuba another training camp, another offseason. I'm not sure. I'm sure the gap will close to the point where it's not even worth giving Blankenship another contract. But again, as far as draft goes, as far as even offseason trades go, what is Howie thinking to replace some of that back end help? Because outside of Coop and outside of Quinion Mitchell, everybody else seems very wishy-washy, inconsistent. They'll have their good moments. But I need some consistency within your good moments. I don't look on the side and say, okay, we have just use an Eagles guy like a Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie. Not a great corner, but a corner that's consistently just appearing. We only have Quinion Mitchell and Coop. Everybody else, I mean, we don't even have a Michael Lewis on the back end of this safety.
We're really, really thin in the secondary.
Yeah. And I've even spoken about this, Island Ultra. I appreciate you contributing to the conversation. What's the point of even going after and getting Michael Carter? Like, I still haven't even wrapped my brain around the Michael Carter acquisition. I haven't wrapped my brain around it. And good thing we didn't get Sauce Gardner, not wishing injury upon anybody, but he actually is banged up over there in Indianapolis and missed some practice this week. So but again, I need to wrap my brain around this Michael Carter transition before the deadline, and I still haven't seen him. I haven't seen his jersey. I'm sure he's been on the floor, but I just haven't seen his jersey, which you say is a good thing. But I at least like to see you standing over a pile. Like I at least want to see you stand over a pile here or there.
As a cornerback, it is good that you don't hear his name. It's just kind of like an offensive lineman. You don't want to hear an offensive lineman's name a lot.
I don't even see his name. Like, okay, here comes Cooper DeJean tackling the running back, and I see everybody's name standing over next to Cooper DeJean, giving him high fives, and I just don't see Michael Carter anywhere over there. Well, and then we go out and we get Yair Alexander, and he just quit on our team. And then Darius Slay, he's refusing to go to the Buffalo Bills, so maybe he's trying to force his way to Philly. Who knows what's going on, but the secondary certainly needs some help. I appreciate you.
Yeah, and I want to follow this up because he's got another one, because this brings to another great point. Talking about this, about
CJ Gardner.
But here's the thing to that point, because it's not just CJ, right? And this is what's wild. And look, I'm not like this isn't all. Oh, here I am to trash our GM because he's one of the best GMs in football. However, we all know that no matter how good you are at this, there's a lot art as well that's not science. And we're gonna have to revisit this past year because CJ's gone, right? Probably could have signed him. Might have had to give a little more money than we wanted. But don't forget who else is gone when we talk about these things. Isaiah Rogers Jr., right? Also gone. Could have signed him. We could have signed him. I don't think it would have cost much, if anything, more than what Minnesota signed him for, right? So here we are talking about the secondary and
Yeah.
it being a weakness, and also just not just the starters, but no depth, right? Because it's like
Yeah.
right now, name the two cornerbacks who would come in for Mitchell or Coop.
Jesus,
I,
I don't
I
even want. CDS. I get
who
scared saying their names out loud. I
right,
cringe every time I say
right.
Dory Jackson and Kelly Ringo. Like a part of me die.
So
I use it. I lose a year off my life every time I
yeah,
say Kelly Ringo's
and
name.
so it's like there was the secondary. What I'm saying, that is a failing grade for Howie Roseman this offseason. Because I mean, Coop and Mitchell were already guys that were here and signed. So that's, and then like to your point, he's done this multiple times now. We just talked about Tank. You just talked about Carter, guys who were gone and gotten in trades during the season,
Yeah,
but they're MIA.
yeah,
So what was the point?
yeah. And I mean, the 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 problem is here's the question. Here's the question. Was You look at the Jalen Phillips move, and you can say that that's a Vic Fangio move, right?
Okay, now that yeah,
You, no, no,
that was a plus.
but that goes to my point. Like you look at the Jalen Phillips move, and you can say, this might be a Vic Fangio move. And then you look at Michael Carter move, and him not playing, you can say, well, this is a Harry Roseman move.
Right,
Like
right.
Vic. This isn't the guy that I asked for, Howie.
Yeah.
Maybe you tried to get the guy that I asked for, and he didn't, and they
he
didn't want
couldn't,
to take.
right?
Yeah, they didn't want to take the deal. But not only is this not the guy that I asked for, this isn't even the type of guy that I asked for.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
the type of guy that I asked for.
one thing I will say to that to make clear with everyone, to be fair, and this is where I'll always defend Howie Roseman or really any GM, is we as fans, we want everything, and we'll say, oh, do this, and do this, and we'll scream when it doesn't get done. But it's like, just because we say go get Myles Garrett does not mean Howie can, you know what I mean? Like someone else has to agree to it, right? Like no matter how good Howie is, he can't make a trade happen when the other side says, no, we don't want to make that trade.
And I think to add
and
to
I
that,
still wouldn't give up 3 first rounders.
Exactly. To add to that, but on the flip side, Howie's also done such a good job drafting that when we hear 2 first rounders or 3 first rounders, it's very off-putting. Like I would never give out multiple first rounders for a guy, whether it's Myles Garrett, whether it's Sauce Gardner. I personally, I wouldn't do it. Alan Ultra contributes again. How do they see Tank? Oh gosh, dude, we've talked about Tank at nauseam over here, Alan Ultra. How do they see Tank convert a 3rd and 19 or however long it was and not give him any touches the last game? Alan Ultra, we've said this when we compare and contrast Tank's performances to Saquon Barkley's performances. They both get touched in the backfield, but only one of them seems to make the defender miss and get additional yards. We both see them have to make multiple people miss in the backfield, but Tank always seems to be the one that makes them actually miss and gets positive gains. I don't know how they can see him, how elusive he is, especially with how subpar our offensive line has been playing, and not try to rely on him, give him at least 7 to 12 touches a game. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's it. Like, I mean, at the very least, just to do it to lessen the load on Saquon Barkley. That's the thing. I mean, one of the things that's been really effective about the Eagles' running game until last year, in this window, say from like 2018, 19, up, is it's for the most part, we may have had one back that gets most of the carries, like a Myles.
Indeed, I'm gonna let his connection rebuffer. Let me touch on this also, Island Ultra, because I remember pulling this up last week. Tank Bigsby in that New York Giants game that you're mentioning, Tank Bigsby, 9 carries for 104 yards. Right, the last 4 games combined. Yeah, the last 4 games combined, he's had 8 carries. Island Ultra. So in one game, he had 9 carries, and then in the last 4 games combined, he doesn't even have 9 carries total. It's
Right. It
It's
doesn't become.
irrehensible, dude. It's damn near a fireable offense. It's damn near a
Yeah,
fireable
I
offense.
agree, and that's a good point. Following up what we were saying about Gainwell is, yeah, there would be times where Gainwell would be an entire drive, like you said, that, and it just doesn't make sense. And I will point out,
Good
because
point.
I want to counter it. I've seen a number of people be like, oh well, Tank gets those yards and has those carries because when he comes in and he runs a lot, it's like second and long or third and long, and they don't have as many guys in the box, so it's easier to get positive yardage. And it's like, okay, respect, that is fundamentally true, but still getting a first down on 2nd and 26 on a rushing play has not happened that often. And I will also say this: when Tank, even if it's because there's a less fewer players in the box, let's say he gets 4 or 5 yards easily. Okay, but then he doubles it because he carries the 2, 3, 4 guys trying to tackle him for another 3 or 4 yards forward. We have not seen any of that from Saquon Barkley this year.
Yeah, and to that point, we can't have our cake and eat it too when it comes to he just gets the ball on second and long and third and long.
Right,
When Saquon gets the ball on second and long, we're booing because they don't get any yardages, right?
right.
When Saquon gets the ball handed to him at third down and 9, we boo because they don't get any yardages. So
Because then we know we're punting.
exactly. So we can't boo in that instance and then take away Tank actually getting positive yardages
Right.
in the
Yeah,
other
yeah,
instance. Let me just say this also because I'm looking at these numbers.
Let me say real quick, Ben. Thank you, sir. Really do appreciate it. Didn't expect you here on the weekend. Shout out Black and White Sports too. Thank you,
Let
sir.
me say this. Just I'm looking at these numbers. Island Ultra. Tank Bigsby, his whole entire um, career with the Philadelphia Eagles has gotten 23 carries.
That's crazy. And how
He's
many were the one game?
he's gotten 9 in one game.
Yeah.
23 carries. He's gotten 9 in one game. That's not good. You look at
No.
his touches. Every game outside of the Minnesota Vikings game, every touch has been a running play. He's only gotten one passing play, and that's in the Minnesota Vikings game. So they just don't. Guys, all you need to do, and this is the problem. There's been so many elusive running backs. There's been so many running backs throughout these last 25 years that have been able to catch the ball out of the backfield, make a guy miss, whether it's Westbrook, whether it's Sproles, whether it's McCoy, whoever the case may be. There are so many examples of things that we can do to get Tank and Saquon the ball in the open field, yet they choose not to do it. Alan Ultra, I still don't know why we don't see Tank and Saquon Barkley on the field at the same time. I still don't know why. We see a lot of Riley Cooper now. Why am I seeing so much Riley Cooper and not Tank Bigsby? If you guys were so on Riley Cooper, then maybe we should have done something else with the Tank Bigsby trade. It just does not make sense to me.
No.
With
No.
like scratch the play design, scratch the play calling. It's like the personnel that we use. We don't even use the best personnel at our disposal. So substitution packages need to change too.
That is a good lead into the next thing I wanna ask you about, because
Dude, you hear me? He's only gotten one target out of the backfield. One target.
yeah, they don't throw him the ball. No, but and to be, it's interesting you just said that, because what I was just going to get to from your previous comment was, again, the play design and the personnel and the formation and all this other stuff. And to that point, Saquon hasn't been all that effective in the past game either, and not because of Saquon. It's because of the play designs that we've used. When we throw him the ball, he's dead in the water 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage anyway. But to that point, here's what I want to ask you, Ben. I want to get into this conversation because I have seen in the last few days a lot of people talking about how, Nick Sirianni this week of practice he's involved a lot more this week with the offense, alluding to maybe there will be changes that we will see. Now, I am not convinced that that's actually a positive, because I don't think a lot of people realize this, but Nick Sirianni, one time he called plays in Philly, he was terrible at it. He did not call plays in Indy before he came to Philly. A lot of people don't realize that. And so I'm going to just let you go at it, what you think. If that is the case, that Nick's gotten more involved and he might be maybe, I was going to say suggesting, but, calling more plays, is that a good thing or a bad thing for Philadelphia?
Is it a good thing or a bad thing? I mean, based on what we've seen this year, I have to say it's a good thing only because what else are we going to do?
Fair,
Keep running the
fair.
same thing over and over again. I need to reserve some judgment for Monday. In terms, I need to reserve like what does it look like? How does the offense look? Because I can come here and bash it, but if we somehow miraculously score 30 points, then we got to reserve our judgment another week. We've talked
Right,
about this
right.
multiple times. How long is Nick Sirianni going to wait until it's like, dude, are we going to watch the season just slip out of our hands? Are we going to watch our offense continue to struggle and just ride or die with Kevin Patullo? Or are you eventually going to say, all right, fine, I've given him 13 weeks, however many weeks it's been. I've given him the rope. He's damn near hanging me with that rope. You know what I'm saying? You know what I
He
mean?
is.
All right, now it's time for me to step in and see if I can get my hands dirty and turn this offense around because he doesn't need to touch the defense at all. They had a couple bad
Right.
games. Don't touch the defense. Vic will handle
No,
that.
he won't.
See what you could do with the offense. Again, I mentioned this earlier during the live stream. It's not like see this. It boggles my mind. It's like, do you guys not go and watch some old tape, like just some old tape of what you guys used to do, how plays used to be set up?
Right, right, right.
Like some
Well,
patterns that you guys would use on third downs and
how,
second and long calls that would
yeah,
work.
how about just from last year, right?
Yeah, like do
Like,
you guys look at your own trends and like just do some research on yourself and say, oh, this worked. Why haven't we gone back to this? And say,
right,
like, dude, like you're a boss. You're talking to your employee. Okay, so this is the way that we were doing things last year. We saw a year over year increase. We're leading the company in this metric. Why did we go away from that this year? Right? You say that to your new supervisor, your new manager, and you let them give you an answer for it. Right? That answer is not good because we're not reaching the targets that we hit last year. So we need to maybe revert a little bit closer back to what we did last year to get some of those same results.
right.
Nick, we need to see something. That's what I'll say. We need to see something. I don't want to hear you saying, "Oh, he took over running the ball. He took running the ball. You're in my head now, Island. He took over running the offense, and it looks the exact same." Well, then you
Yeah.
know what that also says, Nick Sirianni. This is the issue. If the offense looks the exact same, then the question is, well, were you ever really hands off? That's the question.
Well, that's my thing. The more I think about it, and the more I look at what the offense was like when Nick was allowed to get the OC versus when we got someone from the outside and stuff. I think his all. I think he's all over it. I think a lot of this offense is Nick Sirianni. I think based on what happened in Philly up to this point, he said, "Yeah, you know what? I'm going to hire my buddy Kevin, and I am going to run the offense, but I'm not going to have the responsibility and get the pressure and the questions because they're going to think that it's Kevin." Now,
Yeah.
to that point, I want to run these some numbers by you real quick that I had. Uh, Now, this isn't just about Jalen, though obviously he's the quarterback, but it's about Jalen and to the points we're just making, who the offensive coordinators were. The in-house guys that got promoted that were basically Nick's guys versus the guys we brought in from the outside, okay? In 2020, the year before Jalen's first year started, the Eagles were 26th in points and 26th in passing yards. And by the way, that 26th in passing yards was despite being 10th in passing attempts. Um, in 2021, his first year as a starter, they moved all the way up to 12th in points scored. In 2022, the offense was second in points. And by the way, there's no Saquon Barkley. Uh, Eighth in passing yards, despite this is a complete reversal from 2020. Eighth in passing yards, despite being 23rd in passing attempts, and second in yards per pass attempt. 23, seventh in points scored. And 24, seventh in points scored, seventh in yards per pass attempt. And Jalen had a career high passer rating of 103.5. Now in 2025, they're currently 20th in points. My point being, how do you hang this? How do you all of a sudden, for all these people who are criticizing him, let Nick off the hook, let Kevin off the hook, and say Jalen has all these weapons? He is the problem. When you look at these numbers and what they've had done since the year before he was here, and since all of a sudden, Jalen can't do all these things he's been doing. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's let Kevin off the hook.
Well, oh, actually, Howard Eskin just did the other day.
Yeah, it's not the guy that uh
Howard Eskin's been around forever. He's got his son now at WIP, who's awful, Spike Eskin.
oh, Spike. Okay, one of those Eskin guys.
The Nepo baby.
Yeah, one of those Eskin guys had to refuse to walk back
I
there.
was going to bring that up.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I know where you're going. Yeah,
The
where he made that comment about
Hard Knocks
never
thing.
seeing. Are you talking about when he made that comment about he never once saw Jalen Hurts on the sideline having a conversation with a
Yeah, something
receiver
along.
about
Yeah, something along.
miscommunication,
Yep, yep,
and
yep,
then
yep,
and then the Hard Knocks thing got
yep.
released, and after that pass, which everyone kept screaming about how inaccurate he is, and I said, hold on, that looks like miscommunication to me, and it turned out to be exactly that, miscommunication, and Jalen had a conversation on the sideline with Devontae Smith about it and
Yeah.
took responsibility for it. Yes. Sorry. That was probably your story, but
Yeah,
that
no,
was
no, no, yeah. Yeah, I need to see what this offense looks like tomorrow. I mean, if I'm assuming we're going to come here Tuesday or something, somewhere after that. If the offense looks terrible on Monday, then yeah, then Nick, you are now under my gun, so to speak. Right? Last game you saw me start to be like, Nick, dude,
yeah,
now we're
you turned a little bit for
yeah,
sure.
like, dude, now I've given you the benefit of the doubt. Now it's time for me to turn the cannon on you.
Right.
And now you're saying you're taking over, you're more involved with the offense. Okay, well, now the bullet has been loaded in the cannon, right? So there's only so many more steps to go through until that cannon starts firing off.
Yeah.
Take that how you want to take it, you know? Take that how you want to take it.
100%. Yeah, this game is gonna say a lot. I almost feel like we're at this game where they right the ship, they have a dominant performance, right? Right the ship, get a big win, build some momentum, make some positive changes, and then they ride that out. Or they end up 8-5, and we all say, "Yeah, we've been talking about it. We don't want to really say that it's 100% true, but 2023 is back." You know what I mean? Like we're kind of at like I think some people were saying that too early in the season, but
Yeah.
if they lose this game, yeah, it's kind of feeling that way.
Yeah, well, I made this comparison to 2023. So 2023, they started out 10-1, and then they lost 3 straight, and it was a wrap right there. This would be our 3rd straight loss. This is when it's time to start drawing the comparison. We 3 straight loss, still sneak into the playoffs, and then we get mollywopped by the Buccaneers 32-9.
Take it easy, Rhodes. Thanks for
And
showing up, man. Appreciate it.
32-9
Sorry,
in the wild card round. So
oh,
this is a game that they need to show up. It's that simple. Show up. Prove that this is an actual team that can make a run, not a team that needs to rely on 3 things to go their way and then make a run. Sometimes you need to win the game instead of backing into a loss or having the other team lose the game. Sometimes you need to go out
that's it.
and win the game.
That is the big problem. Look, I am not going to dispute how important turnovers are in the NFL. That statistic probably indicates wins and losses better than any statistic in any sport. That being said, to kind of what you're saying, and by the way, for people who think the offense is limited from Jalen, who has said himself multiple times in different ways, trying to be professional about how he words it, he is not on board with the way they've limited the offense. And I think that's the problem with the Eagles offense is they've gone so far into we need to win the turnover battle that it's actually become a negative because the offense is so – and I think I said this in a video earlier this week. They lead the league in 3 and outs, right? Okay, so now I get some turnovers are bigger than others, right? Like if it's 3rd and 15 and you throw the ball 60 yards in the air and it's intercepted, a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's good as a punt." Whereas if you fumble in your own 15 and turn it over, that's not so good. But to that point, in some ways, to me, if you lead the league in 3 and outs, how is that not the equivalent to at least a few turnovers? right? You know, I mean, you're not giving your defense any rest. You're putting them back on the field. You're not flipping field position in any way because you're not even putting together one first down, let alone a couple.
Mhm.
So what is the like if they turn the ball over, if they opened up the offense, right? And started not just in the passing game, but just started doing different things with the running game. The passing game opens up the running game a little more. Their scoring goes from their 20th now. They pop up into the top 10. Are we really saying that if they turn the ball over 6 or 7 more times than they would have, that it negates all those positive things?
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? Like there's a balance, folks.
Yeah, they need to
You know,
capitalize
some
off
of
the turnovers too. It seems like if it's not a pick six or a scoop and score,
like
turnovers aren't even in our favor, really.
yeah, I mean it's really bizarre. Oh, one thing I wanted to add real quick because you went off on him last week and he just brought up that wild card loss to the Bucks and you went off on Baker a little last week. I just noticed even though they're still in first place, right? But they're only 7-5. The Bucks have a negative point differential
Mm.
this season.
Mm.
Um,
So when they
for
lose, they
those,
get beat down.
yeah. So yeah. So and I don't think that's all on the defense. Like you said, I mean Baker's. You notice no one talks about Baker much anymore. Like
Well, yeah, that's what. Again, as soon as these guys start getting mentioned for MVP, they all throw a stinker.
if if
Like Dak, like, oh my God,
yeah,
Dak Prescott, he beats the Eagles and he has a good game, and oh, he's MVP, and then he goes out and they lose to the Lions. Not saying he played bad, but it's what it is, man. Just end it, man. Just give it a Drake May, I guess. Just
well,
end it.
by the way,
Just give it. Just give it up.
as crazy as it sounds, by the way, there's another reason. You know, it's not as important as all the others, but another reason to win this game is can we be done with the possibility of the Cowboys winning the division, please? Because if you lose this game once again, you're still only a game ahead of them in the loss
Yeah,
column.
you're leaving them
Like
space. You're leaving them too much space to.
too much space, man. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, but yeah, you know it's and speaking of, I saw too. It's weird some of these things like, and this is where you wonder if they're paper tigers. The Bears point differential is only +6, even though they're 9-3. Whereas the Packers are 8-3-1, they're +68. The Lions at 8-5 are +90. You know, I mean, I'm not convinced yet that even though I know they beat us, although I think we beat ourselves more than the Bears beat us, but I'm just not convinced the Bears are really all that good. You know, when you look at their numbers, it looks like one of those teams, and it happens in football. Again, you look at great defenses where it's like one year they'll, they'll 7 takeaways, and then the next year you think, oh, they're awful, but no, nothing else has changed. It's just now they're not taking the ball away nearly as much, right? And I think the Bears have had a lot of those kinds of breaks. I'm not even convinced they win the division at this point.
Yeah, well, they got the Packers today. If they beat the Packers today, they're in good shape.
Then they're in the driver's seat for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm not convinced yet. Although again, I never know which Jordan Love's going to show up. Speaking of the consistency you mentioned way back when we started this live, Jordan Love is to me one of those guys where that's not quite there.
Mm.
He's not consistent enough at a high enough level that you're like, yeah, that's my QB1. We're riding him to the Super Bowl. So it'll be interesting to see how they do against the Bears. If the Pack wins, I think the Bears fall off a little bit for us since we wouldn't have the tie break against them. But that's the crazy thing with that Rams loss.
As far as the one-hit wonders for this year, I have more faith in the Bears than I do in the Colts, and I think that's.
I would agree with that.
I think that's a quarterback thing. I think that's a quarterback and play and a coaching thing. I think because I mean I'm sure you've seen the clips. Some of the calls and the designs that they did for the Bears, getting their receivers open and kind of fooling the Eagles defense a few times.
Yeah,
and it was pretty creative.
It's crazy. I don't know what to make of the West, man. They got 3 teams with 9 wins.
The NFC West?
Yeah.
You got to go with the best quarterback, and then work your way
Oh
down
yeah,
from
yeah.
there.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't feel like Seattle and San Francisco are on par with the Rams, yet they also have 9 wins.
Yeah,
And I'm like, okay, well, that's just because of who in the AFC, the NFC West is playing this year. Like that is one thing more than any of the other major sports is the NFL is a lot more influenced in terms of one loss with who you're playing because you only play 17 games and you've got what a third of them in your division.
yep. Um, yeah, Rams, Seahawks. Yeah. Uh, I think the real question is between the Seahawks and the Niners. Who's a better team between those two guys? I think
Yeah.
that's a real toss up. Is
Well,
Sam
and then
Sam Darnold legit? I mean, no, he's a
there you
gunslinger, but
go.
he's legit. And then we got Brock Purdy or Mac Jones. I mean, if I'm the Niners, I'd rather try out Mac Jones.
That's
Who
what I
Mac Jones?
said that too because it's his team. I had that conversation with Rhodes a little bit. Uh, he thinks and he's a Mac Jones fan too. But man, I don't know. I just think I would have not that Purdy has played poorly, but the way they were playing with Mac Jones, me personally, I don't know that you make that change. I mean, because it's not like your starter was Tom Brady, right?
Yeah.
And he gets hurt, and you bring him back. Okay, like it's Brock Purdy. No offense, Brock, but it's
Yeah,
so
even before with the Niners when Colin Kaepernick took over, it's not like Alex Smith was playing bad. Colin Kaepernick just stepped in and they were playing much better. I mean, it
yeah,
happens. It happens. It's football.
yeah,
I mean, your job's never
yeah,
safe in football.
right,
Like
right,
especially in football where wins and losses. I mean, dude, you could go
and
7-9 and be safe, and then go 8-8 and be fired.
yeah, and that was and to that point, just real quick to bring back the Eagles, that was the problem and the beginning of the downfall with Carson Wentz
Yeah,
is he fell apart when they drafted a quarterback in the second round because he was like, "Oh my God, it's my job. I should never ever have to worry about any competition." That was Carson's mentality, and he's grown up enough that he would even say that now. He said, "I didn't handle that well,"
mm,
and to your point, you have to understand that as an athlete more than anyone else. It's like even from your first day, at some point, you're going to be replaced.
yeah.
You're going to have to play at a level to keep someone else at
The,
bay.
the old adage, availability is the best availability, rings ever so true
Yeah,
in football. It rings ever so true in football. And again, it's not like there's a Trey Lance that they're like, oh, well, we can't go with Trey. No, you got Mac Jones.
right, right.
You can ride out with Mac Jones. You know what I mean? Um,
And I mean, I think that the greatest example for all sports fans, and way before both of our times, but you would know this, especially as a Yankees fan. I mean, poor Wally Pipp just caught a cold, man. He caught a cold, and so he took a day off from first base. and there's Lou Gehrig,
there it
who
is.
said,
There
"Hey
it
man,
is.
I appreciate this opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give it back."
Yeah. You're out here now. Um, yeah. It, it's the name of the game. It is the name of the game.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes, Wentz was, and you know what? To be fair with Carson, I will say I don't think that was Carson being brittle. I think that was just I will give credit to Carson for that. Like the man played reckless football, and I mean that as a compliment. Like
yeah.
he didn't shy away from trying to make a play or taking a beating because of it.
Yeah, I'd
You
say
know?
he was a little bit more reckless than Josh Allen.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, for sure.
not as thick as Josh Allen. Once
Yeah,
was definitely a
oh,
physical specimen. Like physically, he was put together. But Josh Allen's just thick. You
yeah,
look at him,
yeah,
he's got fat on those bones. Wentz didn't have any fat to help supplement some of the
yeah.
hits. You know
No,
what I mean?
yeah. It's funny. It's like now that we're removed from it, I kind of feel bad for Carson. Like when he went through that and the way he was acting here with that whole idea that he just had this mentality that he didn't have to work to get better,
Hmm.
um, which obviously pissed off a lot of Eagles fans and stuff. And it's a shame that with the injuries and everything else that he didn't get that time to grow up emotionally. Because man, I don't know. I just think if it had been a little different for him mentally, that guy could have been a hell of a quarterback. He had all the tools, all the
Yeah,
tools. I mean, obviously he was without a doubt MVP until he tore his ACL on that touchdown.
yeah, and even in his subsequent stops after. he still could have kind of saved his career. But
Yeah, yeah, he could have, and he showed glimpses, but he just never recovered
yeah,
from all that.
yeah,
But yeah, it's to circle back real quick to the West because it makes you wonder, and it's going to be interesting because again, it's like we were saying about who you go into the playoffs with and this and do you is Sam Darnold that guy? I mean, I've never had an issue with him. He's again a guy who showed glimpses of being a really good quarterback, and obviously this year now he's gotten an opportunity to show that for a season, and he's putting together a nice season. But when the proverbial push comes to shove,
yeah,
and he's playing somewhere in January and it's cold out,
yeah.
is he that is he
That's
that
the
guy? Can he do the whole put the team on your shoulders thing?
well. Now here's the thing. Now this is the thing. I think he can, but this is where you get into the good and the bad, right? Is he going to do the Brett Favre where you're a gunslinger, you're gonna throw some interceptions, but you're still gonna be able to win a Super Bowl, or are you gonna go the other direction and say, uh, not to disrespect him because he's a good quarterback, Josh Allen, and you just throw interceptions at the wrong time, at the most
Yeah, yeah,
wrong times, and you never get over the hump.
right,
Are you
right,
gonna be
right.
the gunslinger that still wins a Super Bowl, or are you going to be the
Yeah,
gunslinger that always comes up short because you're going to go up against that guy in the NFC, Matt Stafford, who just refuses to throw interceptions, that guy, Jalen Hurts, who just refuses to turn over the ball.
right,
It,
right.
it, 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 it can go one way or the
It's
other.
it's it's interesting to me. This is like a fascinating part of the game that you could never really nail down. We were talking about it a little bit in terms of the team with turnovers versus not turning it over and all the other stuff. And that's a great example. Like I was thinking as we were talking about that, when you just brought up one of them, Brett Favre, a lot of the greatest quarterbacks of all time threw a ton of interceptions
Yeah.
because they played and again sometimes it hurt them but they played high risk high reward and I think like as you're saying that I'm thinking in my head of like highlight reels I've seen of Brett Favre's career and I think of the touchdowns he's shown that thrown that are like 50-60 yards and there's one receiver down there and 3 or 4 defenders on him and the receiver comes down with the ball and it's like most quarterbacks aren't even going to throw that. It actually probably had more of a chance of being an interception than a touchdown, but he took the risk and he gets a touchdown. You know,
Well, let me make this point because I didn't mention Brett Favre's name. If you think about how far you need to go back, CDS, to think of a quarterback that won a Super Bowl slinging it. You might have to go all the way back to Brett Favre.
yeah. Well, it's also a different. We've talked about before. It's a different game in terms of how it's allowed to be played, which is more offense oriented.
Absolutely, but that also is the anti Sam Darnold point. It's like Darnold in this
Right.
modern
Right.
era, the guys who do win are the guys who don't turn it over.
True.
You know
True.
what I
True.
mean?
True. Yeah. That's true. You look at the
You look at Brady, Manning, Hurts, Mahomes,
I was just going to say
Breeze.
Mahomes because he's the most recent. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to go back quite a way to get to a guy who's just slinging the rock all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah. I missed that though.
Even Joe Flacco. I mean, Joe Flacco wasn't a great quarterback, but he had that run. He had the run.
Yeah.
Eli
Yeah.
Manning might be the guy, dude. As far as just turning it, as far as somebody who just throws interceptions.
E-
As far as he just throws interceptions, but again,
Here's the Eli Manning and Joe Flacco in a way, same guy. Their careers were kind of but Joe only did it once, and Eli did it twice.
against the
Had their
best,
2 greatest
against the
stretches.
best, twice against the best.
Yeah, yeah. No, but I mean, just
No,
even
I
to
know,
get
I know,
that.
I know, I know. I'm
You
just
know,
saying.
they had 2 of their greatest stretches of 5 or 6 games were played at the absolute perfect time, the end of the regular season into the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
And then the rest of their careers, they were really just kind of average.
yeah, yeah. I mean, even Russell Wilson. Guys just take care of the ball. Just take care of the ball. That's Sam Darnold. That's the anti Sam Darnold argument. Like, dude, you just turn it over too many times. You just turn it over too many times.
Yeah.
And we've seen guys that turn the ball over when you go up against the Mahomes. You're not going to get it, dude. You're just not going to get over the hump. Now, this might be the year because Mahomes isn't going to make the playoffs. This might be the year where Josh Allen just doesn't turn it over in the postseason, but I still think that you can't turn the ball over in the postseason. If Josh Allen's throwing 2 interceptions, the game that he throws 2 interceptions in the postseason is the game that they lose.
Yeah.
And that could be a game. And that could be the game against Drake May, who doesn't turn the ball over. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you're going to turn it over against the wrong guy, and it's going to come back to bite you.
Yeah.
Who did Favre go up against when he won that Super Bowl? Who in the NFC? Who did he go up against to get there?
Oh, to get there?
Yeah,
Wow,
you
I don't
remember?
even remember. I don't. How far? I'm trying to think how far back that was now.
Was that 96 maybe?
96. So that could have been like Dallas, San Francisco.
Let me look it up.
Those would have been two teams, because Dallas would have been not far off of their 3 Super Bowls. We knocked them out in 95. I think they went to the NFC Championship in 96, but I'm not positive. You know what's crazy? You just mentioned in Kansas City, so I was just looking at the standings out there. You know, they have a higher point differential than the 10-2 Broncos.
Well, dude, I think Sean Payne needs some credit.
Yeah, Denver is doing what Kansas City did last year. Like they're winning all these 3, 4, 5, 6 point games.
The Panthers. Who was the Panthers quarterback then? Island Ocha.
I agree, Island. I mean, I'm not questioning Eli's toughness. I mean, that man took a lot of hits in his career for sure.
The
And I'm not even
Broncos.
saying he was a bad quarterback. I'm saying he was solid with 2 great runs, and now he's going to be looked at as better than he is because he's got the 2 rings. And I get that. Like, ultimately, that's what it's about, right? Kerry Collins. Kerry Collins from Penn State, yeah. Wait, that's who they beat in 96?
They're saying the Panthers.
Yeah, okay, Kerry Collins. Okay.
Yeah. Whatever.
Well, come on, you can't lose to Kerry Collins.
Yeah, they're making this just hard for me for no reason. I'm just looking for the Packers championship seasons. 13. There we go. 1990. Oh, it was 96, dude. Holy shit. Alan Wilcher. I mean, I gotta be honest with you, Alan Wilcher. I was 90. I was kind of sure it was 96, but I wasn't 100% sure it was 96. But fucking damn, it was 96. I was right. Yeah, checks. I thought it was 96. Like that sounded right in my head, but I wasn't 100% sure
Right.
that it was 96. But no, it was 96.
Yeah. And then the next 2 were John Elway, right?
Yeah. Against the Steelers. 96. Yep. Against the Patriots. That's what they beat in the Super Bowl. 96 against the Patriots.
Oh, speaking of, since you just mentioned the Steelers, complete change of direction, and I know this like isn't even related to the Eagles in any way, but
with Drew Bledsoe as the quarterback.
When?
96.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, this is the one thing, and I mentioned Lou Gehrig and Wally Pipp. This is the one thing that irks me about Tom Brady being what he was, is people forget now how good Drew Bledsoe was. Drew Bledsoe was a heck of a quarterback. And not only that, they forget the fact that Drew Bledsoe was the starter the first year that Brady won a Super Bowl. Drew Bledsoe got him into the AFC Championship game and got hurt during that game. And I liked Drew Bledsoe as a quarterback, and I just feel like he gets shortchanged as to what he did in his career because of what Tom Brady ended up being.
Yeah. Well, he had one revival season over there in Buffalo, but never.
Yeah, that's true.
With who was that guy?
But
Cloud. What was the guy's name? Cloud over there in Buffalo. I forget his name. They had
Bru-
they had one solid receiver over there in Buffalo.
they've had. I was gonna say Andre, but no, that would have been even. Well, wait, yeah, it might have been. Was he still? Who's the guy that played in the Super Bowls? Andre.
Andre
Uh,
Rison?
yes, Andre Rison was a hell of a wide receiver for Buffalo, but I don't know if he was still there when Bledsoe got there though.
Shit.
I think he played a little earlier with Jim Kelly and stuff. But here's something wild. I just want to discuss. And I'm curious in the comments what y'all think because it's so crazy what perception does in terms of how we think back and what compared to the reality. And this came up because I saw something. People are starting to grumble about Mike Tomlin being, maybe it's time to move on in Pittsburgh. And he made a comment that had me completely lose all respect for him about how, oh, well, if I'm not appreciated here, and then I'll be elsewhere. It's like, Mike, you're hired for a job that you're not doing. It has nothing to do with appreciation. But here's the point I want to make real quick.
Did he say that? I thought that was an ESPN chick that said that.
I thought he said it. Maybe I misheard.
Yeah, maybe because I know I saw Jason Whitlock and he destroyed that feminist on ESPN that said
okay,
that.
you could be right then. You could be right. So I might have misheard. Yeah. I might have misheard it because I was kind of in a hurry. But the point, so if that's true, apologies to Mike Tomlin. But then the point I want to make is a lot of people were defending him and talking about how good a coach he is, and because of all the playoff runs and everything when Ben Roethlisberger was his quarterback. And then the numbers came. And I didn't realize this either. And this is what I mean about percent.
Eric Moulds was his guy. So I had to hunt down this guy's name. I had to hunt down his name, man.
Okay. That does sound familiar. For the 15 years they were together, they didn't win a playoff game 11 of those 15 years.
Yeah, that's rough. That's really rough.
But that's what I'm saying. But does that surprise you, right? Like the perception is Tomlin and Roethlisberger had a lot more success together than that.
Yeah. I mean, there was that defense, man. Those defenses were just when they were good. When they were good, their defenses were good.
And Jerome Bettis.
Yeah, when they were good, their defenses were good.
Yeah,
but
now see, and to that point, then this kind of goes back to what we were saying about the turnovers and the offensive game. And now, the greatest defenses of all time they wouldn't be allowed to play in this NFL.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, good thing James Harrison got out when he did.
Oh my goodness, man. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
It's interesting because I do think that individually, some of the top players now would still be able to play back then, especially when you look at the front seven, like Myles Garrett. You could just throw him wherever. Just throw that guy wherever. You know what I'm saying? Because they're just specimens. But as far as totality, collective brutality, it's not like that anymore. You know what I'm saying? There's a couple brutals on the side of the ball, but there is a collective brutality throughout every position that they just don't have, and they just don't have right now.
Well, and that's the thing. And because of that, and because of what was and was not, say for example, roughing the passer back then, or even to be fair, pass interference. The cornerbacks were allowed to be a lot more physical than they are nowadays. You didn't want to go over the middle because you would get your career ended. Yeah. All that stuff is eliminated. So it also makes those players braver. And what I'm saying is quarterbacks like Josh Allen, even Patrick Mahomes, I don't know that they have careers back then, not necessarily because of their talent, although their numbers would be less just because of what defenses were allowed to do. But because I think with some of the things they do and the way they run and the way they use the rules, they would have career-ending injuries. They just...
Yeah. I probably wouldn't say Mahomes, but I would say
way harder island. I agree.
I would say Allen and Brady. I probably give them the benefit of the doubt. But to that
Brady's
point,
a lot tougher than he's given credit for. By the way, he would hang in the pocket.
Yeah. To that point, it's hard to actually say how good defenses now would be back then because the defenses are handicapped so much.
True.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Because
oh yeah,
like you think about it, it's dude, This guy's getting called for pass interference when it wouldn't even be
Yeah,
pass interference back then.
the,
You know what I'm
the
saying? This guy is
biggest
not making tackles when he's not allowed to even make tackles now. You know what I
the
mean?
biggest change would be in the passing game stats, what receivers would
Yeah,
rack up and
yeah,
what quarterbacks would
yeah.
do.
Yeah,
Right?
it's easier
There
to
was a
say
there
would
was
this
a
offense
reason.
perform back then than would this defense perform back then.
Yeah,
I think it's
for
easier to.
sure. I
Yeah,
mean, there's a reason. There are reasons why quarterbacks throwing for, if you go back far enough, for 3,000 yards was actually a huge deal, or a receiver catching 70 passes in a season was a huge deal, and it's not now. It's not because all of a sudden every receiver in the league is better than the greatest of all time from 30 years ago,
yeah,
right? It's a rule change.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to circle back real quick, because I hadn't really thought about it too much other than like looking at the number. I don't know if you looked into it more, just because you said it so matter of factly. Is, do you really believe? Are you convinced, or say less than 50-50 or whatever, that the Kansas City Chiefs are not going to be able to make a run and get in the playoffs?
No, I'm not convinced. In my mind, the dude, I need to see it to believe it, man. Like that's I need to see it to
Yeah.
believe it. As far as I'm concerned, I don't want to sound like Nick right here, but if they fucking pull it off and make the playoffs, 0% of me would be surprised. I'd be more surprised if they don't pull it off and sneak into the playoffs than if they do not pull it off. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Um, yeah, I was just curious because I'm just kind of going through it. I'm like, okay, they've got one, not including the division winners, right? Because they obviously make it. There's
They need to
four.
win out. They need to win out.
Yeah, okay. There's three teams outside of the division winners. So you've got Buffalo 8-4. Pittsburgh is tied with them at 6-6. You've got the Colts. It's Colts, Jags, and Texans. Two of them are going to be not win the division, and they're 8-4, 8-4, and 7-5. And then you've got the Chargers ahead of the Chiefs in their own division at 8-4. So yeah, they're not out of it,
No.
but yeah, they need to make a run for sure.
Yeah, they have to win out. If you
Yeah.
look, they got the Texans today, so that'll be a meaningful tiebreaker.
Yes, that's
They
huge.
got the Chargers, which should be a close game, but then they got the Titans, which should be a win. The Broncos and the Raiders. So they can. There's I'm looking at 3-2. Can they beat the
Yep.
Broncos? Yes, they can beat the Broncos. Can
Yeah,
they beat
they
the
can.
Chargers? Yes, they can beat the Chargers.
Yep.
Again, I don't want to count out Pat Mahomes or Andy Reid.
Right. No, I get that. And like I said, their point differential is better than the Denver Broncos,
Yeah. Well, that's the
and
Broncos.
and it's better than the Chargers.
Yeah. The Broncos wins those games because their defense wins those games.
Yeah, 100%. Oh yeah. In fact, I don't think. Let me see. I just scroll real quick. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't check with the NFC, but the Broncos have given up fewer points than anyone in the AFC.
Yeah.
I think maybe overall. No, the Ram. Wow, that's crazy. The Rams have given up the fewest points in the league. And we hung 33 on them.
Yep. Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. All right. I mean, before letting you go, just kind of
Yeah.
to sum up, I'm curious, like, just hit the points. What you, because we all know it's got to be a win, and I think it's kind of got to be convinced. Like, it has to be a play well win. What do you want to see from the Eagles that makes you, exhale a little bit and say, hey, all right, you know what, we can right this ship and do some damage in the playoffs?
Barring that I haven't lost all faith in the offense, or that I have, because if we've lost all faith in the offense, then the only thing that I need to see is stop the run, put pressure on Herbert. That's it.
Right.
Because what we've seen this whole entire season, there's no faith in the offense. The defense is the only way for us to win these games. The defense is the only way for us to make a real deep run in the playoffs. If I do have some faith in the offense, for me to not to crush Nick Sirianni or be mad at Nick Sirianni,
Yeah.
hang 30. Hang 30. Hang 30, man. I don't care how we do it. Hang. Just put 30 on the board. Put 30 on the board. Show me we can at least score 30. God damn.
Yeah.
They're not going to give it to Tank, dude. That's the thing. Give Tank 10 touches. That's not happening. I'm already.
I hear what you're saying.
I'm already conceding that point. I'm already conceding that. Just give Devontae Smith 12 targets. They're not giving him 12 targets. I'm already conceding that point. I have to already concede these points. You know what I mean? Just hang 30. Find some way to hang 30.
Yeah.
Holy
No, I
smoke.
get that. Yeah, because I was going to say, and this kind of goes with hang 30. I was like, I want to see them put up 400 yards of offense. Like,
Yeah.
I want to see, I don't want to see even a solid offense. Because, like you said, we've seen some solid offensive games, although they weren't full games. It's more like we've seen phenomenal halves
Yeah.
combined with bad halves. So overall, it looks like a great. I want to see 4 quarters of good offense that moves the football. I want to win time of possession, right? Because that used to be something we were very good at. But that also means, guess what? Running the ball. So I want to see 100 yards at least plus running the football without Jalen Hurts.
Mhm.
I want to see 100 yards from our backs because I haven't seen crap from Barkley all year. And in the play selection, look, I'm going to dial it all the way back. This is how bad the offense has been. I want to see Calcaterra not be on the field when we're running the football. I don't want to ever see him have to block in order for us to gain positive yardage running the football. He's the worst blocking tight end in football. Oh, and by the way, that's just to sum up with that. That's also something, and this is where I'll say, give Saquon Barkley that little bit of a get out of jail free card, is when Calcaterra is on the field, the other team knows that we are running the ball to the other side because we do it every single time we run away from them.
Yeah.
It's a tell, and we have too many of those. We have too many tells. Let's eliminate the tells. That would go a long way right there. Just eliminate the tells.
Dude, I think I was on to something last week, but now that Sirianni is more involved, I don't think so. Dude, but I'm telling you, a simple switch of putting Patullo in the booth, I think would make worlds of difference. I don't know why they haven't even experimented with that yet, but we'll see.
Well, they still might. I mean, even if Nick's involved more, you could still put Kevin up there because he can relay things.
Yeah, dude, I think it could be. Again, that's a simple switch that might just change his perspective, right? Because sometimes when you're in it, right? Sometimes when you're in it, you don't really see everything that's going on around you. Sometimes you need to take yourself out of the situation to really get a bird's eye view on the situation at hand. So
yeah. I mean,
I would take him out and put him in the booth.
if we're gonna, in terms of what is run for the offense, if we can make one change, my change would be, I would hand Kevin Patullo last year's playbook of the plays that the offense, still knows, because I'm sure there might be some in there that with new players we didn't even touch. And I'd say, you have to choose from this playbook. These are the plays you can run. And let's see what happens.
Or even when we're off script, do something. Like when the offense is on script, they look decent, right? When you have like the first 10 plays laid out, or whatever, the first drive or two laid out.
Yeah.
Like when we're off script, I got to see something when we're off script. So
that's a good point. We've talked about that before too. Like, it's not even, although it is, it's not just what an individual play looks like in terms of how it's designed that's terrible, because we could go through tons of plays where we just look at what the receivers run and it's like, that play is not going to work unless the end result is we're like Jalen scrambles and chucks it up to Devontae and he goes and gets a jump ball. But the play, it's not even designed well for Jalen Hurts. We talk about going through progressions. To go through progressions properly, you have to have the plays layered that when the second option is moving to the point where you throw him the ball when the quarterback is looking. You don't run a 4-yard hitch, so where he's just standing there while the quarterback's looking at option one and then turns to you, because now you're covered, right? Like, there's a timing factor involved too. It's not just the routes, right? There's so much that this offense does poorly in terms of play design that it's amazing we ever get anything positive out of that. I got so locked into wanting to bitch about that I completely forgot what my greater point was. But yeah, man, well, that's I can't believe I still have my voice. But Yeah, that's about all I got, man.
Alrighty.
I got to see something good from this offense. But all right, man.
All right,
Appreciate
CBS.
everyone hanging out, especially Island. Thanks for all the comments, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate
appreciate you,
it.
man. Yep, absolutely,
Well,
absolutely.
good
Alex.
luck, birds. We'll see how it goes. All right, man.
Take it
Take it
easy.
easy.
Peace.